Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders and ask them questions about their business stories and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today I'm really excited to welcome Adam Myhoob to the show. Adam is the founder of Nuts on the Run, a fast growing e commerce brand bringing premium, small batch roasted nuts and snacks directly to consumers. The company focuses on quality, freshness, and flavor, using all natural ingredients and artisanal roasting techniques to deliver a healthier, better tasting snack experience. And today I'm going to ask Adam a few questions about his entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to grow his business. Now, before we dive into this interview, if you enjoy this content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. And for more interviews like this, please visit treptalks.com. And with that, Adam, thank you and so much. Thank you so much for joining me today at Trep Talks. Really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sushant, for having me.
So, as we were briefly chatting, I mean, it seems like you have been a long time entrepreneur. You mentioned that you had restaurants before you started this business. So maybe we start there. If you could share a little bit about your story, what were you doing before you started Nuts on the Run, and like how did you get to getting the idea for starting a nuts-based business?
Sure. Um, my wife and I then in 2005 went to Vancouver, Canada, and started a restaurant business. And we opened one restaurant called Pita Fresh, and it was my first restaurant. But it was in a historic building among like 13 different units of restaurants, A&W and a bunch of others. And we were able to make it very successful in 2 years. We were able to make it successful where we bypassed almost like the first year we became like equal because we took it a very tiny unit and then we built it from scratch. We worked very hard, but almost for free for a year. And then next year started to build. And we built it to the most successful outlet there. It was Vancouver, BC, British Columbia. Yeah, and was very successful. But then the building was owned by the government. And after about 7 years, the government decided to take the food court and move it into a passport agency. But since my wife and I were already US citizen and we had very successful fast food, I came back to Eugene, Oregon, to start my chain of franchised small restaurants based on my success in Vancouver, Canada. I thought like, okay, it's time because that restaurant was closed despite its success. So if I want to go like a long run in this adventure, I want to do it here in the US and open a chain. And so we came here for that. And we came to negotiate the lease with the mall in Eugene, Oregon. And while I'm doing that, I came across an older gentleman that he was really, really struggling. He had his dairy farm. And a year before that, he had gone totally broke and lost the farm, lost the house, lost everything. And he was on the street. And I saw him like very hardworking man and struggling and trying to make it. So while I'm negotiating with the mall, my restaurants, I told him that no worry, I will help you. We'll figure out something, but I will help you. I can have a car for you. I can have a rent. And when I open my restaurant, you're gonna work for me. He was very happy and very excited. And he was selling little things, but according to him, he wasn't getting paid, and he was still sleeping like on the street and in churches and so on. And so before you know, he lost that job as well. Now, in my previous restaurants, I have created rosemary almond. So I told him, don't worry, I'll make something for you to sell. And I gave him like a van and I rented a little place for him. I told him, and I'm negotiating the lease and we'll see what happened with the management. They already approved me for the lease, but we are still in negotiation, approved me as far as credit and so on. And so I made for him some rosemary almond from my condominium and gave it to him to sell. And we rented like a little month-to-month kiosk in the mall. And what do you know? People loved it, loved the rosemary almond. So I made coconut almond. I made coffee almond. This is like almost 13 years ago. And all these unique flavors, hardly anybody heard of them. But I love creation. I love to come up with new stuff. I enjoy it, literally. Like I would do it for free. So I was just creating flavors and putting them in like a simple cone shaped plastic bags. And we started that way. But the response was really good for what I'm creating. People loved it. And so then I thought, restaurant, I know how hard that is and how much time it takes. So why don't we try the nut first before we go that route? Since we already know, like literally the first month, I sold $13,270.
Wow.
Yeah, on a little kiosk. So I thought like people love my products. Maybe there is something here that I haven't realized before, like my creativity in the nuts, even though I had done the rosemary almond as a creation over 18 years ago, like 5 years before I even made these batches for him to sell. And so we stayed with the nuts, and here we are 13 years later. And now we are in a very good place. Like we really have very high demand. People love our product. We have excellent reviews on Amazon and different places. We're doing pretty good, I would say.
Do you still have that in-person kiosk store or presence, or is it purely direct-to-consumer e-commerce?
We started with actually only the kiosk in the mall and then little farmers market and things like that. But during the pandemic, as you know, the malls in the US were hit hard because there was no sampling, was forbidden, and not many people will go out and so on. So the pandemic hit us hard. We had a lease already in place and we kept paying rent for the mall and paying wages and everything. But after the pandemic, the mall traffic has continued to go down, So at that point, we realized that the demand is high and many stores started to approach us. So for example, like you got a New Season Market, one of the fantastic markets here in Oregon, they try our product at the mall by coincidence, the buyer, and then they will ask us as a company to sell to them. So we say, sure. Whole Foods stores, like one of the most fantastic stores here in the US, they also like came across us that way. And so we started to grow because of this store. So when the pandemic hit, I focused on the wholesale. And we grew the most, actually, as a result of this focus on wholesale instead of direct to consumer through us.
Yeah, I was thinking of Whole Foods because I usually see these kind of items in Whole Foods. So you are in Whole Foods all across the US?
No, we are in all of the northwest of the US as a local company.
Okay.
Yes, but Whole Food is very happy with us because we've been with them like for probably about 6-7 years, something like that, and they never removed an item off their shelves that ordered from us.
Wow.
So because every year they do reviews and they carry the best products and so on. For us, they never removed not even one item of our products. Yeah.
So let's talk about your product because it seems like you definitely created something unique. Can you talk about, so you're taking like raw nuts and you're creating or you're combining different flavors, coatings on those nuts. Can you talk a little bit about your flavors and how did you is this your own creation? Like, did you come up with this idea or and how did you create these products?
Yeah, well, the idea of adding like cinnamon and sugar, this is a very old German tradition that I learned about. It's just sugar and cinnamon. But the idea of adding more complex flavors like I did, for example, all organic fresh rosemary with no use of any oil, any additives, anything like that, that was something new. So the creation of revisiting those things in a way that's not been done before is new. Yeah. And so then my creation is, yes, we buy everything raw. We start everything from scratch and we make everything in-house.
I mean, yeah, previously you mentioned like you created it in your kitchen. I'm
Yes.
assuming you may have moved beyond your kitchen,
Oh,
but
no, right now
probably
Yeah, we have a warehouse now. We have a small factory. We have like a total of 7 people in the factory working, other than, of course, like salespeople or anything like that outside the factory. But we have now an actual for a long time we have a licensed manufacturing facility. But in the beginning was just from my condominium as a starting point.
So I mean, it's easy because I guess you can start or try out different flavors right in your kitchen and then see which one gets the best, like which one do you like the most, and then which one gets the most demand, and then mass create those, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you are spot on. We try what we try at home, and then we bring it to the people, we sample and so on. And the response we get sometimes amaze us. Sometimes an item that we think is people gonna love it, and they think so of it. Some item is very simple, and they love it. They think, oh, wow, that's really great. And so the audience, for me, they are the king. You know, my customers are the king. So we listen to them very carefully. We bring them value. We take care of them, and we continue to expand with their help.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
Um, how did you so you started selling in person, and then at what point did you say, let's take this business online, e-commerce, and like what were your first steps in terms of like starting to sell online?
Online was a tough business for us to really and like become known, because shipping is costly, and people are buying like little simple snack bags. So when they want to pay for shipping, it's costly, or they have to buy so much to avoid the shipping cost. So that was difficult. But then even Amazon, trying to sell on Amazon was quite difficult, because just so you know, there's like thousands of companies trying to sell snacks similar, or to some extent similar to us, and we are all fighting for the attention of the consumer.
Hmm.
And so it required a lot of investments and patience, and trying again, and persistence, and eventually you break through. But it took a while to be able to, like right now we sell on average maybe like 80 to 100 sales or something like that on Amazon a day. And but in the beginning, we were really struggling. After we put our product on Amazon, you search for nuts on the run, and it will be on like the 10th page or something.
Hmm.
So nobody gonna scroll that far to find nuts on the run. But yeah, take time, and then promotions. And I think we did not focus heavily on other than direct sale to consumer in the beginning, as a small family-owned business selling here and there. That's in the beginning. But once I realized that actually this is something deserve to have attention on a national level, that's only during and after the pandemic that we start to do that.
So your channels are mostly wholesale. So I see on your website you're selling on Fair,
Yeah,
and you said that you're available on like some of these big retail store chains like Whole Foods and so forth.
right.
And then you have the direct to consumer website. Would you
Correct.
say that most of like a majority of your sales are coming really through those big box chain stores, or is it like through Fair wholesale distribution?
Well, the thing is, our business, I wanted it not to be dependent fully on one channel. So now Fair.com is a channel that we have on it probably like 400 or 500 retail stores. And we have on it about 300 5-star reviews from retailers. Like
Hmm.
and we've been on it as a top store for over a couple years, 2 years as Fair top store.
Wow.
So we've been doing really well with Fair.com, but it's one channel. Then other distributors like UNFI and KE and Cormark, those are major distributors. Those are also another channel. Amazon is a channel, and then our direct sale online is a channel. Because after the pandemic, I realized that putting all your eggs in one basket is a major business mistake.
Hmm. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So right now we are diversifying, so we can be like stable. Even if one channel didn't do so well, we would still have many other channels.
I mean, it seems like you kind of hit the nerve somewhere with the taste of this thing. taste of your product. And
Yeah.
have you seen other people kind of copy this, or is your recipe
Funny
a
you mentioned
secret?
that. Yeah, funny you mentioned that. You see, my first item, even before I started Nuts on the Run, was rosemary almond, for example. And I submitted my item 1 year, the caramel pecan, and it won in 2023 the Good Food Award.
Hmm.
All right, in that category. It won the Good Food Award of the 2023. Fantastic. Now, somebody submitted almost identical to my rosemary almond on their own.
Hmm.
Another time, right? Another time, and they won with it the Good Food Award. And I was actually flattered because this item is unique because I came up with it. Like the first item we sold it as Nuts on the Run, that was in 2013. And then over 5 years later, one of the largest company in the United States started to also make rosemary almond, Blue Diamond.
Wow.
And I started to see all these major, huge companies doing product that I already did 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
so I'm
there's
flattered.
no way to stop them, right?
Huh?
There's no way to stop them, right? Like in this food category, you don't have like
No,
copyright or like
no
intellectual
patent,
property.
no patent
Okay,
on rosemary.
okay. But I guess they reverse engineered your formula, right? Or your recipe, I guess.
They could, but for us, that's not the only reason we are successful. Not because we only do a recipe. We never compromise on quality, never.
Hmm.
And I throw away a batch, or if it's edible with like minor things, I will donate it, but I'll never sell it to my consumer if it is anything below a specific standard that we set. And the freshness of the product, we never compromise on that. We buy, for example, pecan, just to give you an idea, we buy the highest, most expensive pecan in the United States as a raw material. We buy like literally the mammoth half and the Pawnee, which is like, and we buy it fresh directly from farmers. We make
Hmm.
contract with them when they have the season, and we buy with them, and we buy the highest available quality at the most expensive price, of course. A lot of company are not willing to be generous on the quality of their ingredient. They try to save a dime here, a quarter here, and so on, and make more money out of the consumer. Our philosophy is different. Our philosophy is if you really want to succeed, you must give value beyond what is expected of you.
Hmm.
Yeah, and because of that, I think we have a higher chance of survival. We have a higher chance of succeeding beyond other people, and we will continue on that route. And I don't mind that even my competitor do that. It's a fair playground. If they do that, if they copy me, if they do better product than me, I'm happy. It's a fair game.
How do you preserve the freshness of nuts in a packaged item? Is there like a best buy? Because I know that like from personal experience, once a nut it gets like a few months old, it like there's a unique smell that starts coming from it. Like, how do you? I'm assuming you probably manage like smaller batches or something like this.
Yes, we do literally orders. We do our cooking to orders. Like the companies place an order for with us. We don't have extra products. They have to wait and we ship to them within like 3-4 days. But we are cooking every day. Every day we are cooking, and we keep cycling it as fresh as it gets.
Okay. And once it is packaged, like, does it have any? Is it vacuum sealed? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is vacuum sealed. It goes on like. Not only vacuum sealed, it's also we have a specially engineered in our facility nitrogen, which is basically the same air in the room, but we filter it to almost 100% filtration of anything, including um, including water. And so the content of moist in our bag is almost like so minimal that it gives it a lot longer shelf life. But this is in itself is like a little costly, but the manufacturer who want to do food, I think is very necessary to reduce the moist from their product. And so we do have that special processing to filter the air and make sure it's healthy and good and gives the product a longer shelf life.
I mean, it seems like you've come such a long way from where you started.
Yes.
When you started out, and when you realized that, yes, people were buying it, like in the first month, I believe you said 13,000,
Yeah.
more than $13,000 in sales.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of investment did you have to make to get the business like going properly?
Yeah, well, we started not with a lot of money. We started pretty small, and we continued to grow within our mean. Like we didn't really like. I don't have investors. We do have a small SBA loan, especially during the pandemic. We had to go through that to keep the business going between factory and mall and everything else. But other than that, I don't have investors. And myself, we always were actually, we are always making money every end of year. We never were like in the red where we are losing money and having to invest money out of pocket. We are not in that condition. And I understand business, like most businesses would want to get like millions of dollars investments. But for me, my conscience doesn't work that way. I have very close friends who came, and one of them like wanted to give me literally $100,000, and my previous landlord says, "Here is $200,000. I want to invest them with you." He'd see us working hard and doing good, but I can't take their money because I believe like if you are guaranteeing that your business is succeeding, fine. But if it is in the process of evolving into a very successful business, it should be step by step to growth. Because I see these startup businesses and over 90% of them collapse. And they are so optimistic that they're going to make millions of dollars to the investors. In fact, I was talking to a friend yesterday who invested between him and his friend and his associate. They invested about $150,000. Another guy invested 250, and they both are not getting a penny back because the $250,000 invested in a very exciting idea, but then it's not working. The other guys invested in a tech startup, and the tech startup would literally after 1 year bellied up, bankrupt. And so for me, I believe like in hard working and slowly but surely, one step at a time, and you grow it within your mean, and you grow it, you work hard, and you expand. If you see guarantee, then consciously I can say to my mother-in-law and my friends and so on, hey, please help me out. Your money is guaranteed. But if I don't see it 100% guaranteed and really necessary, I cannot accept people money.
Yeah, I mean, I think family is a little bit different, but if an outside investor is wanting to invest, I think they have considered the risk, right? And they probably wanted to invest because they saw that it was working. They saw people usually invest in other people, like and they probably saw your work ethic and you as a person and everything, and then they of course when you're investing, it's like there's always big risks, so which I think investors do consider.
I know, but to my shock, a lot of them focus fully on the optimism, and they are really not considering the high risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Okay. How did you? So it seems like, I mean, you had a good product market fit, you had a good traction in the market. In the beginning, did you have to do, were you purely like you had the stall and people were coming and buying it? Did you have to do any special marketing or sales tactics to really drive growth?
Yeah. The main successful action that we did is sampling our products. So at the kiosk, we set up a sampling station, and we were able to do that, and people love it. And through the sampling, we generate a lot of sale. And probably till today, if you see on our website, we have free samples that anybody can get. They just pay like the shipping cost, which is like $6.99, but they get a large size bag. They get 9 different flavors, all free. And they sample, and that has been the most successful action in getting customers from everywhere.
Do you think, of course, previously you mentioned restaurant business is a very tough business,
Yeah.
and now this is working. Do you think that packaged food business is a good business, or your business is good business because, people like the taste and it's working and people are probably becoming familiar with the brand and so forth?
Well, if you want to know if a business is good or not for a specific individual, we really have to look at, are they able to go through difficulty happily and patiently?
Hmm.
Or is that not something for them? Because some people stress out easily. So I would say whether it's nut business, restaurant business, all of these are very highly competitive businesses because there are thousands of people competing for the same shelf space. And if you are a restaurateur, you know already, like, people not gonna try you easily. You have to motivate them, and it's gonna take time. And eventually they try you. And if you are not really good, they're not gonna come back. And not to mention the pressure of having everything fresh every single day.
Hmm.
So if you're not up to something that difficult, like my first year at my previous restaurant called Pita Fresh, it
Hmm.
became so successful. I literally like had two lineup with two cashiers in 2 years. After 2 years, I had two cashiers, and both of them has lineup of about 20 people just for lunch alone.
Hmm.
But people don't understand that this take so much persistence and feeling like, okay, you're going to go through it, you're going to do it, you are enjoying doing it, and it's 12 hours a day, most of the time, 7 days a week.
Hmm.
And you keep doing it. If you don't have the energy and the patience for that, then of course, I don't recommend business to other people. But if you feel like you are up to a task like this, then the reward could be very high, could be very high. Because, I mean, right now we want to go nationwide with Nuts on the Run. And nationwide, the company could be worth $20, $30 million. Now, that's the reward is very high. I mean, yeah, it's worth it.
Hmm.
But make sure that your personality can be suitable for the specific type of business you are choosing.
Hmm. I think all businesses are challenging, whether you're doing a small business, you're doing a large business, purely because of the fact that even if you're doing something very new and it becomes successful, people catch on and they copy, and then
Yeah.
you see competition right away, and
Right.
then you
A
have to
lot of the
compete.
startup in technology, you could see like somebody have a simple, nice idea and they startup and cost like $2 million programming and so on. But because they are a bit slow and so on, before you know, some other company way bigger than them already developed the same technology and it's on the market and they're still working on it and their company belly up.
Yeah.
So you have to take into consideration not only your excitement, every business, if you start it, make sure you have exit strategy and make sure you have the tolerance level for what it requires of you to succeed. And if you're not willing to go through the difficulties, and if you when you are willing, I mean, the difficulty comes up, but you are happy to go through it. That's what I mean by willing. If you're not happy to go through the challenges, then of course you're not gonna grow.
Yeah. Have you in your life, have you ever had a job, or it's like in your life, like it's like job is not an option. I need to figure out a business.
Yeah, actually, I only worked in my entire life from the age of 10 to like 15 in a tailor shop. And at the age 10, even I sold little beat pieces on a movie theater outside with like little tray. And
Hmm.
while I'm working, I find selling and creating things for people to enjoy, I find it a lot more fulfilling for me.
Hmm.
Now, but when I was an employee, even after that, I had in my life where I traveled and I start from scratch again and I worked even as a construction worker. But when I worked, I really gave it all. And I didn't know my employer loved my work. They would like literally pick me up in the car. I was like a foreigner in Cyprus with just working there and minimum thing. They pick me up, they bring me back home, they give me a weekend job. I didn't understand at that age, as I'm still young, that actually that's unique. I thought it's natural that people give it their all.
Hmm.
Because when you go in a direction, I give it all. If I open a restaurant, I give it all I got. If I am doing nuts, I'm giving it all I got, because this is commitment, and this is like this is my own intention. I want to see it through.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people who start a job once get in the cycle, right? Like, and then once you're in the cycle of getting that monthly paycheck, bi-weekly paycheck, and things like this, then it's like it's very difficult to break that cycle because you're scared of losing that bi-weekly paycheck and taking on a risk of a business, right?
yeah.
And some people can do it, but like I think it becomes quite addictive, I think, for most people.
Sure, sure. It is challenging for sure. It is challenging. So you want to know your personality. Like I know some people, they wouldn't last a year having their own business, although they might say it's so easy. But once you take into consideration all the different part of a business to be successful, you got like 20 different department within a business, whether it's treasury, whether it's like the running of the employees, whether it's the production, whether it's the suppliers, whether it's the marketing, whether it's the licensing, all different departments. Once you try to go to each one of them and become very successful, in the beginning, you're going to have to do almost everything yourself.
For sure.
Yeah. So if your psyche is overwhelmed easily, then I really don't think it's necessary correct that you want to encourage the individual, if his psyche or her psyche is not up to that kind of challenge, to have that much pressure and stress in their life.
That is
But
very true. Yeah.
yeah, but if they are willing to grow, because every challenge has an opportunity for you to grow up, become stronger, more capable, if you are willing to experience it and go through it.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's very difficult. I mean, I think you brought a very interesting point about psyche. I think somebody who has never started a business or an entrepreneurial endeavor, for them to, go and start thinking about starting something and bringing it to fruition, it's like it's a very big leap. But if you do that like in smaller processes, let's say that you've started a small business and then now you learn something from there and then you start a little bit bigger business, then you start, and that way I think you're growing as an individual, you're developing your psyche, you're developing your ability to take risk and manage uh, pressure and all these things. And I think that becomes a more of a growth journey rather than going from zero to like 100%.
and that's very true, because if you know your tolerance level and where you are, and then you would know what step would you be able to overcome. So don't stay in your comfort zone, but don't also, like, basically what you are selling, what I'm understanding from you, don't go to a very high level that you cannot tolerate and grow to. You'll find it very difficult, very challenging. But yeah, you can do one step up. One step up. Don't stay in your comfort zone. Have a target. Like you say to yourself, what is my ideal scene? As a human being, what is the ideal scene? The ideal scene, I can tolerate anything in this whole universe. That's ideal. Where am I? I can tolerate maybe like having no income for 2 months. So
Yeah.
I wanna be real, but then I would say, okay, let me work hard and risk 1 month income. This way I have 1 month risk, and on the calculated risk, on the basis that I might make more money, because that's my tolerance level. Then I can try that. You see, but on what direction? On the direction of eventually financially, for example, I can have so much money, I have abundance, that a month, 1 month income is nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Does this business have seasonality? Like, do you see that around the holiday season in North America, like your sales is like way more
Yeah,
larger than the rest of the season?
sure. Christmas, December, the holiday month, is fantastic for us. People love the product, not only self-consumption, because I designed them in a way that is gifty also. Like if you look at the design itself, the design is gifty. So when people love eating it for themselves, they also give it as gifts. And that help us in the season. People gift it a lot more. Like we sell about 3 times the regular month in December. Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Um, how did you, what was I going to ask here? Yeah, I'm very curious. So you've grown quite a bit, and of course, I think you have a team now. Can you talk a
Yeah.
little bit about your team and what different departments are there and who, like how many people?
Yeah. Well, we are 7 people at this point in production. In production, 7 people, and there's other people that not directly employed, but like they are associate because they do sales or promotion or things like that. Uh, the team basically, I develop it based on when we hire, I interview them basically and we train them fully. And what I look for is characteristics. I want the individual to be really interested in what they do and proud in what they produce in their own life. Whatever they do, they could be, whether they are like the cook for us, whether they are the packager, whether they are just like somebody who does very simple tasks. My main concern is this individual proud of themselves and what they produce? And if I find that they are, then we can train them. And I want them to be very proud in what they are doing. Like their work ethics is high. They're not gonna do like not gonna overlook something. Like for us, if we do manually, we do everything in a very small batches, and we package manually. We the product passes on like 4 or 5 people, and by the time it get out of the facility, and each person is looking at it and dealing with it on a very small scale. And we want them to be like feeling like they are doing something of the highest quality. So if they find any even piece of nut not to that standard, they remove it. They
Hmm.
don't ignore it because they feel like what they are doing represent them, and they want to be happy. They want to be like, if they said who made this product, the cook want to say, oh, I cooked it. I'm the one who made it, and he's proud of that. So those are the main element that I really look for in an employee, in addition to like responsibility, showing up on time, stuff like that. Simple, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Um, I know you mentioned that this, of course, if you grow at a national level, this can like the upside is quite big.
Yeah.
And you were also saying that you buy the highest quality ingredients and everything.
Yeah.
Is the margin in this business quite sufficient? Like, do you have 30-40% margins in this business?
Well, the thing is, the margin can be improved as you grow bigger. That's the challenging part. Like the margin is almost very little in the beginning because you buy little quantity. But as we grow, we buy in bigger and bigger contract of the nuts with the farmers. Then we have a better price to start with. And then we have a better efficiency as we discover better way of handling the production here. Although it stays in small batches, but we discover a more efficient way
Hmm.
to handle it. And so then you start to cut waste. You start to discover efficiency in how you use the space
Hmm.
itself, where you can produce so much from within the same space. So then your margin grow. Like right now, our margin continue to grow, even though we have not changed our prices in more than 2.5 years, 3 years. We're still at the
Hmm.
same price, but our margin still grew. But as we discover efficient ways of handling the business, and so the margin is at the end is not very high because of how competitive the business is, but volume for us is the key. Like if we sell like $1 million a month, then
Hmm.
of course if the margin, even if it's only like 10%, we're still netting 100 grand on the side.
Hmm.
So the margin is important, but it comes from your efficiency and from your ability to sell a lot.
Hmm. What kind of, I mean, talking about risk a little bit, I mean, we're living in a very uncertain world right now. And
Yes.
to me, it seems like your supply chain is mostly within the US, like you're not doing a lot of business outside of
Yes,
the US.
correct. We are mostly like our pecan is from Texas, and our almond from California, our pistachio from California, hazelnut when we carry any is from Oregon. So yeah, our supply is mostly from here, and there is abundance of good product in the U.S. The U.S. export like the almond, for example, the U.S. exports for more than I think like 60 or more countries worldwide almond.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
it's a huge exporter. Yeah, so the US has abundance of goods, and we want to stay focused on manufacturing the best of what is grown in the US.
And I mean, obviously, you have added quite a few product product types or categories? Like, how often do you think about adding new products in your assortment?
Uh, as often as I can discover a wanted item
Hmm.
and also efficient for me to produce it, if it's efficient for me to produce it. So like the sea salt caramel pecan, I came up with it about 5 years ago. And this became our number one by far right now is sea salt caramel pecan. And, we came up with items, but sometimes they are very fancy and they don't necessarily catch up. Like I came up with an item called orange cranberry.
Hmm.
It has a Grand Marnier in it, and all kind of unique good things. But then it was difficult to manufacture. And even though it's tasty, it didn't catch up in terms of sale.
Hmm.
So we do add, but we also eliminate because we don't want to carry a lot of items. It's not efficient. But
Hmm.
we want to add and eliminate, and juggle these two factors until we have like a perfect 10 to 12 items. That's all.
So let me ask you about your fulfillment and shipping. So, like, it seems like you do everything in-house. So you have your own manufacturing in-house. Do you also do fulfillment and shipping in-house as well?
Well, yes and no. For example, to distributors, we ship from the house, from the factory directly. They pick up the distributors, large distributor that sells to Safeway and Whole Food and all other companies like that. The distributors picks up directly from us. Now, Fair.com, they sell for us, but through a shipper, like the ShipBob, it's called ShipBob. And
Yeah.
it's a center where we ship to them, and then they fulfill the orders and send it. So it's varieties. Our online customers, we ship to them freshly roasted product from the factory, from right here. So it depends to whom. We do all different methods. It depends on what is the best solution for the consumer. Like what would be the fastest way to get it for as fresh as possible. Then we do that.
I'm very curious because Fair is such an interesting channel.
Mhm.
And you said that you've been a top brand on Fair for a long time also.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
there a secret to becoming successful on Fair, or is it was completely organic, like, people tried it and they kept coming back?
yeah. Well, there is no secret really, but there is because we didn't really market at all on Fair. We didn't spend any ads, any money, nothing. So it grew organically. But if you are to call it a secret, it's you must give value to the retail store. Uh, I was reading one of Alex Hormozy books, and
Hmm.
he was talking about the $100 million offer,
Hmm.
and it's giving basically something to your customers that they cannot refuse. They
Hmm.
think of it highly, that it's profitable, it's moving off their shelves. So if you are to think of a secret, yes, you must work very hard to give your consumers a very good offer. You must give them product. You must over deliver, not under deliver. So don't just like market it as a big deal, moving and so on. No, actual reality of the product has to match what you are telling people, or even better. So
Hmm.
if you can give them that, it's gonna grow organically. Because one of the things that my company and I think we are very weak in is marketing. We don't market. We don't have marketing company or something. We don't. We market so little, if any. But then the consumer is still growing word of mouth, and still, if the retail gets it and put it on their shelves, and the customers come and buy it from them, the customer is happy, and then they buy more from us, and they tell their friends, and we are expanding. So if somebody who's way better than us in marketing with the same product, they would have already, I believe, they would have already become nationwide company.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's yeah. I mean, I would say, um, I mean, I wouldn't call it a weakness because it seems like if your product, I think there's always a balance between the product and the marketing, right? Like if your product is really strong, it will do the heavy lifting of marketing. But
Exactly.
if your
Exactly.
product is not great, then you have to do a lot of marketing. But I guess, yeah, if you have a great product and you can do great marketing, yeah, of course, that's going to compound, right? So
Yeah, and I think this is our next step because we intend to go nationwide next year, and come February, we want to invest heavily in like selling our products, especially in Texas, because they love our product in Texas from what they buy from Amazon, from our website. We're talking about direct to consumer, and so we might open a branch there, and we might do marketing and try to go nationwide.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
talking about Alex Hormozy, it seems like, I mean, you are learning also, like do you follow a lot of like internet personalities? Like, have you learned a
Well,
lot from Alex Hormozy? Have you met some of them?
well, the thing is, what I discovered, I am now 56 years old. And what I discovered, I know so little. And if I knew what I know today, even 10 years ago, I would have made 10 times better.
Hmm.
And so with what I know now, I know that I need to learn. I need to learn. Doesn't matter how successful I am. And yeah, in comparison to many other small businesses, I'm doing fantastic. But I need to learn a lot more. Like when talking about 10 times more, when I read like a little bit of the book of, I don't know if you're familiar with Grant Cardone, is a great
Yeah.
businessman. And the guy have come up with this idea time 10. And I was
Yeah.
reading about it and hearing about it is like, yeah, I'm really not doing enough at all. I need to do 10 times more. And so, then if you think you learned it already, man, this is the time you are about to die. Because like nobody knows it all. And there's a lot of people who really, really like made it way, way big in their own business from nothing. They started from zero. And so these people, yeah, I admire them. I learned from them, definitely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, in every entrepreneur journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned. What has been like um, some of the lessons learned or mistakes that you made that 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 stands out for you? What did you learn, and what can other entrepreneurs learn from your mistakes?
From my mistakes, well, I learned that I should have tested more, and I should have done, for example, more survey. Like because I am my strongest attribute to the business is my creativity, because I love to create stuff. Like the design on the back is my creation. I
Wow.
literally learned Photoshop so I can learn how to design a bag that's unique to me. And with the help of, like I'll put it together, I give directions, I do it. So I love creativity. And when I create something very beautiful, I'll ask like a few people. And most of the time, they satisfy my ego, they satisfy my desire. And so I go and make 100,000 bag, new design, million bag, because I'm very optimistic.
Hmm.
And what I learned that you must do more survey on a larger scale.
Hmm.
And you must be willing to make a survey from the viewpoint if I want to find out what's wrong about it. I don't want to find out how good it is,
Hmm.
because that will only satisfy my own goal of proving to myself that my creation is fantastic.
Yeah.
So you have to step out of yourself a little bit and be humble and look for the faults of your creation. And that's something I think I was a bit weak on, and I'm learning as we speak more and more to become humble and talk to people more. Because when I do a test, even when I do like a survey, and then let's say I do 100,000 bags,
Hmm.
I listen to them immediately. And if I don't get good response, I end up myself throwing away the bags and
Yeah.
taking on the loss. But right now, I think that's not necessary. You can actually make the designs, survey 100 people, go to the mall, talk to the people, tell them, hey, this is my design for this item. On this, these are the 4 options. Which option would you find best? If you do survey, but without bias to your own liking,
Yeah.
you can save yourself a lot of loss.
Yeah, and to be honest, like you can do survey online also. Like you don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to go in. Like if you are testing out different bags, you can run a Google ad campaign or Facebook ad campaign and see which one gets more clicks than the other one, and that's your winner.
Yeah, and that's what my son told me. He's on his last year in computer science. He's doing master degree in computer science. And then when I came up with right now a very fantastic gifty bag design cone for gift shops, because we want to design bags specifically for gift shops, separate from our line of the stand-up bag. And I showed him the design. He said, well, Dad, I think you should put it on your Facebook page and survey your customer. So,
Yeah.
but as I'm accepting these ideas, I think he's spot on. So we need to do that.
Yeah, and I guess your son can, is your son planning to come on work with you? I think it can be a great experience, I guess, and he can
Uh,
grow
he,
the
he
grow the business.
Yeah, he can, but his field is computer science, like AI programming and so on. And that's his field and that's his love. And he's not so much into nuts and packaging, his personality. And his second love is aviation.
Hmm.
So his second profession is going to be a pilot and computer scientist. And for me, that's fantastic because I want every person to find for themselves where do they prosper the most? Like where are they going to produce the most at a happy level with good surviving potential for them? And then go that route. And for my son, I don't maneuver him in a way to become a nut roaster or take over the company. I'm very happy that he knows exactly what he wants and he help us. He help us because he's tech savvy. So he's like the IT for the company.
Awesome. That's great. I
Yeah.
mean, these days it's like if you have a business and if you are a technical person, like you can utilize your technical ability to, to try new things. Like these days, AI is like, there's so many opportunities to try out different things. Um, so yeah, I mean it's great. I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions and you have to answer them maybe in a word or a sentence or so.
Oh, okay.
So, one book recommendation for entrepreneurs and why? I know you mentioned Alex Hormozy, but
Yes.
would you have any other recommendations for books?
Well, I definitely think the um, like Time 10 by Grant Cardone would be a good book because it kind of like show you how much more you have to put into the business and how bigger you have to think. Like if you think you want your business to make $1 million, think you want it to make $10 million. And most of the time you will make 3 million, 4 million. But if you think you're gonna make only 1 million, then most of the time you make 200, 300. So think very big and it motivates you and explains to you how to grow in a way that's is beyond your comfort zone, but also the winning of it is really large. So if you win, you win large. And if you don't win, you still win larger than thinking small.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think, once just by thinking or having larger goals, like you start thinking differently and, your ideas may be a little bit different. Um, an innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
Well, the AI industry has taken over everything by storm, I think. And there is a lot of gadgets that an individual should I mean, if it's an investment purpose, then of course the AI section in general, the tech section sector is good, is good. But a specific idea, I really think consumers are always looking for an improvement of any product. Like if you can take even like a simple umbrella and do a slight improvement on it, you have a chance to create a business out of that. If you can take anything, but just do slight improvement, if you are able to be creative and improve something, and you have the desire to be involved in that kind of field, then good for you. I would say definitely that would be the direction a person should take.
Awesome. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip?
Maybe tools like management tools like CRM management tools that should be helpful if you are to want to expand. Maybe a simple tool like this where you can have like either small membership, small tool to improve efficiency.
Awesome. Another startup or business, and this could be in e-commerce, retail, tech, AI, that you think is currently doing great things.
Um, Another e-commerce that is guaranteed to do great things.
No, any startup or business that you think is doing great.
Oh, it's doing great.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
startup doing great?
yeah, it's doing great things.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm gonna pass on this.
Okay. Anything that you use that you like a lot? Any product that you're quite fond of?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, there are products that we are using all the time. Like, I mean, my Apple phone, it's a great product, especially the new one. The camera on it is like the I-17. The camera on it is
Yeah.
fantastic, and those are good products. I think I am very interested in product that better human life and relationships and communications and in any way. And definitely it depends on your interest. I mean, if you go to sport now, there is like my son just bought like a watch that help him monitor his heart beats and his oxygen level and all these different things that help him how many steps. So he monitor on it all different kind of things. So there are product that serves mankind in general, and those products I admire them. I think they are very useful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, a peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you. So I know you mentioned Grant Cardone, you mentioned Alex Hormozy. Is there
Yeah.
anyone that you look up to, or someone who inspires you?
Uh, on a personal level, I know like friends I look up to, not necessarily right now in the business, but even in the business, I look up to friends, for example, uh, you know, like. But I don't know if I can say their name here if they are comfortable with that because they hold different position in jobs. But I have friends who I admire their characters. They are very decent people. They love to help, and they are successful in their field. Like one friend is a businessman, but actually his business is in music. I
Hmm.
think is Mark Wasserman. I think I can say his name because he's on YouTube and he does very well with his music. So these people, I admire them because they really give it all. I see the commitment, I see the hard work and the ethics and what they do, and they produce beauty. They add beauty to the world. So yeah, I admire personality like this.
Wasserman, I mean, that name sounds, is he in like the guitar business or something?
Oh, you're right. He does play the guitar a lot, but he also play the pianos, and he did give like some lessons on that, and he's on YouTube with that. He's a good friend of mine for like 26 years, and he does well.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Final question, best business advice that you have ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
Exchange and abundance. Exchange and abundance. Don't take shortcuts, and make sure that you are giving a lot more than expected, even with your own standard. Like my standard is to give it all, but I also think, how else can I give? How else can I help? How else can the retailer benefit from my product? What can I do for them to make it move off their shelf, make their customers happy? Can I advertise for them on? And we did. We do Google ad for our consumers. Like for a lot of the retailers, we do Google ads so their customer can know about a product there so it can sell. So exchange and abundance. Don't exchange only in a fair manner, which is also great, but don't do that. Exchange and abundance. Give it all and help people, and that organically and naturally gonna come back to you. This is really, I think, the thing which I benefited from the most.
I think that's a great advice in business for sure. That's also a great advice in life. Like I think that's, that's like a fundamental principle for in life. If you are helping and giving more, then, it comes back. People see that, and,
Yes,
it
absolutely.
reciprocates.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, and like our customers, a lot of them I don't know them at all on a personal level. I don't, but we as a company make sure that their survival is very important to us, and we want to make sure we give them even like beyond what they expect of us. If people do that, I mean, when I came to the US, actually, even like 33 years ago, 1993, it was more common actually to see company behaving really well, and you feel the consumer trust in the market is very high. And it's a very sad situation to see it deteriorating and to see it becoming a unique thing. It shouldn't. It should be the norm.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for your time. Those were all the questions that I had. Thank you for sharing your story, for your business success and lessons learned. And if anybody wants to check out your products, what is the best way to do that?
NutsontheRun.com.
NutsontheRun.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Adam, thank you so much again for the opportunity. Really enjoyed speaking with you, and I wish you and the business a lot of great luck.
Same here, Sushant. Thank you. Thank you for having me.